Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's Loren. I'm here on a Friday morning. A little overcast this morning, not as sunny as it usually is, but it's still beautiful and warm. And I feel very blessed to be in paradise. I feel for you if you are in a city on lockdown somewhere and can't really leave. I think that would be a sort of a difficult situation to be in. I hope you're making the best of it and doing well. I wasn't planning on focusing too much on the news around everything going on today. I haven't really seen so much new information this past week. I probably haven't been looking as much as I have in the past. I spent a lot of time researching over these last 6 weeks. This last week, I have been just super busy trying to stay on top of everything. I'm behind on emails. If you're here and I owe you an email, I apologize. I'll get to it as soon as I can. It's been a little crazy. We have a lot going on here. One of the things that's happened over the last week since we last spoke, in fact, I think last weekend I had expected to go and see a farm that we're trying to buy as part of the big project. And it wasn't able to happen. The meeting wasn't able to happen. So it happened on Monday, I think. Was it Monday and Tuesday? Yeah. Monday morning we met. The guy needed to come in from the city 4 hours away. And so the gentleman, the owner lives here, his adult son, he wanted his son to be involved since his son will inherit the land if they don't sell it. And so he's involved in discussions. And we met on Monday and Tuesday and made a lot of progress and still have some work to do. I owe them an email. So we have a super chat already. Let's see. And this is Those Love Songs. Thank you so much. Someone has made Those Love Songs. I don't know who you are. Just Those Love Songs has made a $50 donation and said, happy birthday. And it's not my birthday. That's tomorrow. But it's coming up. That's tomorrow. Anyway, it's looking good. It's a key piece. It's amazing, actually. I've got a little video piece that I'm going to ask Guzelle, who does all my videos, to, I have asked her to maybe slow it down. I did a video of me turning around one spot on their farm. We have this amazing view of the whole, it's like a hill in the center. And so you can see the mountains all the way around. It's all green, spectacularly beautiful. It's been raining here for about a week now. We get rain almost every day now. And just a week, it's incredible how quickly things change. You know, it's beautiful here all the time, but frankly, I like the rainy season much better because in the dry season, the sun is so intense. Things get dry over time. It's, the grass turns brown, and unless you water it every day. Our peanut grass that we use as a ground cover in some of the gardens, we actually have it over here in this garden. I've got 2 here. That starts to get thin and not as beautiful. And of course, now everything's lush and green and gorgeous and only increasing all the time. So, all right. So I'm here today. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I'll answer some questions. I'm going to have to change my screen angle here. Let's see. Captain Marvelous has made a comment. Oh, I see. That's not the top. Let me start at the top. I apologize. Boris says, good day, Loren. Is it possible to thrive on fruits only, no leafy greens? I wouldn't recommend it. I know a lot of people who have tried. I know very few people who have actually thrived doing that. Most people don't do as well. And I think there are, what I've said for years is that, science has estimated we've identified 5 to 10% of the nutrients in our foods. And so I believe there may be things in leafy greens that we don't even know about yet that we need in order to thrive. And so my experience has been those people who have tried haven't done very well. It's possible that one could thrive, but I don't see that happening very often. Most people who try don't do as well. People tend to do much better with greens. If I look at my own self, I'm my first guinea pig. What I find is that, I'll go without eating greens at all for a week, sometimes 2 weeks or more. Sometimes it doesn't want them. I may go some period of time where it's just no real interest, and then it definitely wants them. And so I don't believe it's possible to go without eating greens at all. Okay, Captain Marvelous, are biracial people healthier genetically than non-biracial? No, not necessarily. Um, Biracial people, the idea I understand is you've got a mix of different, of different genes. Should that make you stronger? Well, yes, having a mixture of genes makes you stronger, but we all have a mixture of genes. Unless you are the progeny of, unless your parents are siblings, um, which is illegal in most places, and probably for good reason, right? Because you tend to have a lot more problems that way. Um, we're all getting a mixture. Now, is there stronger mix? Is there greater diversity with biracial children? Perhaps there is. But let me say this: I don't know. It's an interesting question. I haven't looked at statistics on this. I don't. I can't say there's ever been a noticeable difference. Like, I work with biracial people and I'm going, oh my God, it's incredible how healthy you are. And then I don't see that with people who aren't biracial. Obviously, most people I've seen, most people I know, most people I've worked with are not biracial. We see people who are incredibly healthy all the time. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think there'd have to be a significant study on this, and maybe such studies exist, but I don't know. I think that's probably the fairest answer I can offer. Captain Marvelous has also said you should only eat fruits if you can only fully tree ripened fruits. Yeah, so I completely disagree. Our primate relatives eat leaves, and again, as I said, I've seen no one thrive without eating some leafy greens. No one. Everyone that I've worked with gets much healthier when they start eating greens if they weren't eating them before, and that's without exception so far. I'm not going to read the rest of the comments here. Coconuts are not fruits. Science says they are. You can. I mean, I believe that they're actually nuts, but the science of botany, who has their own way of organizing, says that coconuts are fruits. They're drupes. It's a type of fruit. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's what they say. Michael, Kyle Villalobos, Senior Loren, as always, appreciate the information. Much love. Much love to you too, Michael. I'm glad to see you here. I'm so happy to be able to do this. I hopefully, I want to keep this positive today. Hopefully, I was going to say, the world remains where we'll be able to do this. One of the predictions I've seen made, by people who claim to prognosticate and know what's happening and have a sense of where everything is going, is that as part of the limitation of freedoms, we will lose internet access. I mean, obviously, internet 5G is being rolled out everywhere right now, in every major city right now, throughout North America and Europe, certainly more slowly in places where there is less money, but it's being rolled out. And that's because they want to use it for a lot of things, not necessarily for your internet use. I mean, they're telling you that it's for you, but that's not necessarily the truth. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope, internet's amazing, right? This, obviously, for some of you may have grown up with this, may not remember a time where we didn't have YouTube and Facebook and Google, but I do, because most of my life was that way. Without these things, they're amazing tools, and what we're able to do with them is incredible. Like, reach people around the world. It's what's enabled us to attract clients here from 130 some countries so far, and that's simply because people can watch these videos all over the world. Incredible, right? It's an amazing thing. Eric, thank you very much. Eric just wished me happy birthday. I appreciate that. Radost says, hi, Loren, does the healthy woman bleed and have a period? Okay, well, so first of all, having a period technically means having a cycle. And so a healthy woman's definitely going to have a cycle, right? What happens during a period is her body sheds the lining of the uterus and the old egg, and then drops a new egg into place, ready to be fertilized. And so that's a period. That's all part of it. Um, Now, the real question, I think, is, as you said, is there bleeding? Well, most really, truly healthy women, and there aren't very many. I mean, in order for a woman to be really, truly healthy, in my opinion, would mean that she had fasted probably several times for 21 to 30 days and done it properly, which almost invariably means having experienced guidance, because very few people really know what to do completely on their own. And so most people don't do so well. I mean, again, I can't tell how many people have contacted me asking me for help because they've made mistakes. They've created issues for themselves when fasting on their own, right? So one would have to fast multiple times and then make perfect choices, optimal choices on a consistent basis. I mean, maybe perfect is the wrong word, but consistently optimal, getting enough sleep, getting enough clean water, breathing clean air, which is difficult if you live in most of North America and Europe. Finding constructive ways to deal with emotions and emotional issues. What else? Doing an appropriate amount of exercise, not too much and not too little. Meeting all of the body's needs for all these things. That's going to allow someone to become as healthy as possible. And becoming as healthy as possible, what happens is women will have almost no bleeding, maybe a tiny amount of spotting, almost nothing, but none of the challenging symptoms that go along with most women with their cycle. So no crankiness, all the emotional stuff, no bloating, no cramping, all that stuff that occurs for so many women around the world will not happen for most women if they're truly healthy. They won't have those kinds of things happening. Okay, and blood, very little blood, if any. That's what's going to happen for most women. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Judah here from Perth. I hope life is treating you well. Let's see, Perth. You're what? You must be 15 and a half hours ahead of me, if I remember correctly, something like that. Is that right? So it's 9:15 here. That means it would be quarter to something, if I'm right about this, something like that. And it would be what? Quarter to midnight. Oops, jumped ahead too far. Shiv says, happy birthday, Loren. God bless you. Thank you for transforming my life. Eternally grateful. You are very, very kind. But let's be clear, I didn't transform your life. You transform your life, okay? Take the credit that you deserve. Now, I mean, I'll take credit for sharing life-changing information. But I saw a comment on one of my videos this morning or last night, and the commenter said, in the intro, I think there's a tour of the center. I think this is what they're referring to. I didn't go back and watch the video, but he said, I saw the yoga thing in the beginning. I'm guessing it's a scene, a shot of our yoga shala here, the little yoga center. Not little, it's actually beautiful and pretty large. Holds about 35 people. So he said, I saw the yoga thing in the beginning of the video and knew this would be non-scientific bullshit. Something like that, right? So the information, I'm putting the information out. I've been putting information out now for many, many years, but how many people pay attention to it? And how many people, everyone here, you're here, even some of the people here, are you applying this consistently in your own life? If you do, you're going to have amazing results, as Shiv obviously has. And that's fantastic, Shiv. Congratulations. Again, you deserve the credit because access to information right now, everybody has access to tons of information, almost too much information. Am I right? I mean, it's confusing because, especially if you don't really know which voices to listen to. There are people telling you the exact opposite of everything I say. How do you know what to believe? Okay. I believe that if you tune into your intuition, you'll know. Okay. if this still works pretty well, some of this stuff should make sense, right? Some things like don't make sense. For instance, there are a lot of people today promoting a meat-based diet, and yet our digestive systems are completely different from the animals that eat animals. Our body physiologically, anatomically, completely different in so many ways. Every species, their physiology is particularly adapted for their diet. So how is it that we're going to be so different from the animals that eat this meat-based diet? If that's our optimal diet, why don't we have the same type of body that they do? Well, we would if that were the case. It's not, because that isn't our optimal diet. That to me, that's clear, logical, etc. Some people, they don't get that. They don't get that piece. So you guys, all of you, deserve the credit. Hey, you're here, right? You've taken time out of your incredibly busy lockdown schedule, right? But I mean, we have people showing up on a regular Friday morning when people are working, and we still have people watching, quite a few people usually. And so I don't think I don't take any credit for your results. You deserve the credit. I'm happy to teach. I'm happy to share from my own experience, from the experience of more than 12,000 clients that I've worked with. I'm very happy to share everything I can. I'm very happy to create this amazing place, and this place is amazing. It's spectacularly beautiful. The way you feel being here, surrounded by this amazing nature, it's incredible. It's comfortable. I mean, the people that have been here know what I'm talking about. But it's a joy to be able to take people, most of the time, through this. Sometimes it's not so much fun. Yeah, it's an amazing thing, and I feel very grateful to be able to do it. But each of you gets credit for doing what you're doing, because lots of people are going to hear this or see this or see or hear something similar and go, yeah, not today. I'm not going to do that. And they're going to keep making choices that don't serve them and that don't transform their life. Okay. So transformation is absolutely possible, but it's up to you to do that. I can't give you transformation. I can only share the tools with you. And if you use them, amazing. You get the credit for that. Okay. Thank you. But really, it's you. Eric says, how's the documentation on the community coming along? I would think the survey stuff would have to hold up other writings on the whole idea. Yeah, so that has not been completed yet, unfortunately. I still haven't heard back from the engineers. I don't know if what their situation is. We haven't talked for a while now, since you were here, Eric. So I don't know. Hopefully, we're going to get them to complete their work as soon as possible, so we can move forward. Now, in the meantime, again, we are moving forward in various ways. I spoke briefly with the mayor last week. We're in the district of Ohancha, so the mayor of Ohancha is the ultimate, power in Ohancha, and the local government here has to approve our plan for the green condominium. I'm pretty confident that they will. We have a tentative meeting. The mayor plans to come here with the city manager this coming week, to talk about the project. And they're positive about it. We're just going to talk and meet and, et cetera, talk about some details. So, I'm hoping that we complete that meeting with them saying, we're going to do whatever we can to help you get this through as quickly as possible, because it's going to be good for the district for this to happen. So I expect that to be a very positive thing. And it looks like that's where it's going. Huzaifa, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I apologize. It looks like Huzaifa says, what exactly is a healthy life? Okay, well, what exactly is a healthy life? A healthy, let's talk about health. Then we can apply, once we know what health is, we can apply that to life. Okay, so first of all, health is not what most people think it is. Most people would say that health is where you have no symptoms. Health is where you feel okay. Okay is lame, and we can do much better than that. And not having symptoms are evidence your body's cleansing or healing. So there are lots of people who have no symptoms, because their body's not cleansing or healing, right? So being healthy, like every aspect of your being is functioning at the highest level possible. Okay, so your body works as well as ever. Right now, I just completed, 9 o'clock. I get off of a 1 hour call with several people fasting with me via Skype. 6, 7, and 8 a.m. my time. I have those calls now with groups of people, and one of the people, someone I've known for years, and she's now 60 years old, and body, there's some evidence the body's not working as well as it used to. Okay, still healthier than most people her own age, still very healthy, still very fit and active and functioning really well, but not as well as before. And what does that mean? It means not as healthy as before. Most people expect it to decline by 60. I would know nothing about that because I'm not 60. I'm 59 tomorrow. But I don't expect a decline at all. I mean, yes, of course, there's going to be some evidence of aging, but literally my body works as well today as it did when I was 18 years old. There are things I can do now that I couldn't do when I was 19 and 20 because of congenital issues, which I've now overcome. Functions. Your mind is just as clear as it ever was. Okay, your body works just as well as it ever did. Okay, we're not getting fat. We're not losing our vision. Your eyes work just as well as they ever did. Your ears work just as well as they ever did. I had all that stuff tested, and mine is still perfect in every single way. My reflexes, my vision, my hearing. Okay, I mean, there's obviously my hair is gray, and there's less of it than there used to be. My forehead starts much higher than it used to. Okay, those are inevitable things, and those are programmed by our DNA. I'm not so sure those are things we can affect. We can affect health is where everything functions as well as possible, including emotionally and spiritually. Okay, so everyone feels sad sometimes. Obviously, if someone is constantly depressed, they are not as healthy as possible, because emotional health is just as important as physical health. It all works together. So a healthy life, I would say, is where we're first of all, we're healthy, and we're going through life in a positive manner, which means using our amazing gifts and attributes to create something meaningful. Okay, whether it's just for yourself or for the world, it doesn't matter. But I mean, a lot of people go to work in the morning and come home, they hate their job, and they're doing what they're doing because it's the way they pay the bills. It's not because it's doing anything for them emotionally or spiritually. And personally, I want to make sure that every single day, my time is focused on doing things that feed me emotionally and spiritually, that are in alignment with my beliefs, that have me in integrity, that are doing what I believe is important. Maybe the projects I'm working on aren't going to, be useful. Now, honestly, I think that's almost impossible if we're really healthy, because if we're really healthy, we're tuned into our intuition, right? We're connected to everything, right? Through the third eye chakra. We're connected to everything. And so we know, I'm aware that this information is helping people like Shiv and many, many others. I mean, I get messages from people all the time, and I see, my clients tell me all the time. I have volunteers here who thank me every day for the transformations in their health and for everything we're doing. So I'm aware that what I'm doing is beneficial and useful, but what's important is that I'm in integrity, and that I'm doing what I believe is important, rather than doing what I know is wasting my time, and I'm just going through the day that a lot of people unfortunately do that. I truly believe every one of us has genius. So a healthy life is where we're being productive, and we're living in integrity, and we are letting go of, ultimately, this is what it really comes down to, is letting go of all the garbage we're carrying around, which this is blocking us from being an expression of unconditional love, because I believe what we are is unconditional love, and that when there's nothing blocking that, this is simply being expressed all the time. Okay? That's what's happening. So now, please don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting to you that I've achieved a level of spiritual or emotional growth where I'm capable of being that 100% of the time. I'm not. I get frustrated. I get annoyed. I get angry sometimes, much less than I used to. Okay, it's a path. It's a it's a path we're on. It's a destiny. It's a journey that we're on. It's not about the destination. Okay, we're all going to arrive. We're all going to arrive. One of the book I read at our evening meditations here when we're open, 4 nights a week. I read a short section of a book called Love Without Conditions. It's amazing. It's about fostering unconditional love for yourself and, by extension, everyone and everything. Because when you love yourself unconditionally, that's simply what happens. Okay, and it's an amazing book, but it talks about this subject in quite a bit of depth. And ultimately, what it says is that we're all going to get there. I mean, that's where we're headed. That's who we are. We're part of the divine creative energy of the universe. We are unconditional love. Whether or not we're successfully expressing that on an ongoing basis depends on all kinds of things, including how toxic the body is and how toxic the mind is. So we clear those things, and then we simply are, we show up as we really are, instead of showing up as being something other than that. Unfortunately, most of us still show up as being other. And the goal is to every day, every week, every year, to improve. So we're getting closer and closer to being a full, consistent expression of unconditional love. I'm not there. I believe when we get there, we will no longer need to be on the planet in physical form. We'll become enlightened. That's what enlightened is. Okay, so not there yet. Moving in that direction. Still have plenty of ways to go. So I'm not suggesting that I'm anywhere close to that at this point, but I am suggesting much closer than I was before. And you can be too, and maybe you are. I mean, hopefully everyone is. Unfortunately, when we do things that we know are not in our own best interest, right? We're not moving ourselves closer in that direction. And unfortunately, a lot of people are stuck there, where they're in a loop. They're in this grind where they're doing things they know aren't really helping themselves. They're not really growing. They're not really becoming a better version of themselves, but they're stuck there because it's what they know. It's what's easy. It's what seems comfortable. In other words, familiar. Not really comfortable like it's a good place to be, but comfortable like it's not the unknown, which is scary and uncomfortable from that perspective. Okay? I encourage people, strongly encourage people, including myself, to get out of our comfort zones on a consistent basis, to do things you're afraid of, because that's how we grow, and that's what this is about. Okay? As we grow, as we become more emotionally mature, we become more willing and able to look at our own stuff. We all have the stuff. Everyone's got pretty much the same stuff, in fact, for the most part. It's just a question of being willing to acknowledge that and to be willing to look at it, because that's all we have to really do, is be willing to look at what's coming up. And that's so much of it. So for me, that's what a healthy life is. A healthy life is a successful life. And it just means being as present as possible to who we really are and what we need, and then meeting those needs as well as we can, right? When we are making the best choices, meeting our physical needs, for instance, that's coming from a place of self-love, okay? When we have a hard time consistently meeting our own needs, that's happening because that love is lacking, that self-love is lacking. And so what do? We self-harm. I mean, taken to an extreme, that can mean cutting. It can mean consuming all kinds of substances that are harmful to us. And ultimately, it can mean suicide. That's the greatest form of self-harm, although I'm not sure that, yeah, I mean, let's just leave it there. Okay? So how do we foster self-love? Well, there are various different ways to do this. I mean, I think one piece, maybe an important piece, is to look at how we got where we are in the first place. You know, each of us, I'll share something I haven't shared for a while. I hope not to offend anyone. Maybe I'll substitute the F word for F. Okay, it's a shame because the poem has more impact with the F word, but I'll leave it out this time. This was written by a famous England dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were effed up in their turn by old-style fools in hats and coats who half the time were soppy, stern, and half at one another's throats. Man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can, and don't have any kids yourself. Okay, so I believe Larkin intended the conclusion, get out as early as you can, die young, and don't have children. That was intended to be what's called black humor, dark humor, right? But the premises are completely serious. Our parents do screw us up. Okay, this is what happens. And they screw us up not on purpose, not because they want us to be screwed up, but they screw us up because they're simply modeling everything for us in the best way that they can, which is screwed up, because that's what they got from their parents, who got the same thing from their parents, who got the same thing from their parents. And that's what the poem is talking about. And this is definitely what happens. Now, we can escape the cycle, but we have to be conscious enough to do that. We have to be awake enough to look and say, okay, I mean, most of us, many of us, I know I did this, and maybe you do this too, at some point in time, probably as an adolescent at 11, 12, 13, maybe younger, maybe older, looked in the mirror and said, you know, I don't want to be anything. What happens is, at some point in time, at 21 or 25 or 40, we look in the mirror and we think, oh my God, I have become my mother or my father, you know, whoever it is, right? Now, I can say, I'm glad to say I have not become my mother and father. I love both of them very much. My father is gone past 8.5 years ago. My mother is still alive. Should have been here a couple weeks ago, but wasn't allowed to travel because of the pandemic. She is perfectly fine at 85, home in her house in Houston. Perfectly okay not to leave the house. She doesn't bother. She doesn't. You know, she has a yard. She goes out and does some gardening. She reads a lot. Watches movies sometimes, a couple times a week maybe, and that's her life. It's not that different now than it would have been. She just shops less often, right? But that's pretty much it. But as much as I love her, there's still issues present. And again, I'm not saying I'm without issues. I'm definitely not. I'm very human, fallible in many ways. And that, you know, this is a problem, by the way, being in the public eye. You know, being I hate the word guru, but you know, people look to me for help and answers, and I'm so happy to help. And I've led thousands of people through a process to take their health to a whole new level over the last 23 plus years. But it's a mistake to imagine for a second that the person teaching you is perfect. They're further along than you may be. That doesn't mean they're further along in every area. They're probably not. I always looked up to people like Leonardo da Vinci, you know, the Renaissance men and women who were masters in various different fields, and you know, were incredibly accomplished. They were brilliant, and you know, Da Vinci was an artist and an architect and a philosopher, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. Amazing. And I mean, these are the people I really look up to and respect. That's the people I'd like to be as like as possible in some ways. But no one can know everything today. That used to be possible. It's no longer possible. There's too much knowledge. There's too much known. So we have to specialize. And I've focused in specific areas, not one area, in specific different areas. There are specific areas that I've focused on and specialized in. Most areas I probably know nothing about, and it's so important. It's so important. If you talk to me about your area of expertise, I'm not likely to argue with you unless it happens to be one of the few things I actually know quite a bit about. I mean, I know a lot about a lot of things, but I really focus, I specialize. And if you're a specialist in, let's say, astrophysics, I'm not going to argue with you because I'm not an astrophysicist. Okay, one of the key ingredients to becoming as wise and effective as possible is understanding your own limitations, knowing what it is that you know and what it is that you don't know. Okay, there are people arguing with me all the time about things they clearly don't have any idea about. I mean, that's really ignorant. That's true ignorance. And fortunately, ignorance is curable. Okay, we all have different gifts, and for some people, there's Einsteins, that have these amazingly high IQs. There are people that have incredible belief that every one of us can grow in each of those areas. So, I'm probably never going to be a Beethoven. I'm never going to be able to compose the way that Beethoven or Schumann or Bach did. Any of these people, I may never be able to do that. I wasn't born with that gift, and I haven't spent most of my life fostering that gift. I mean, probably each of those composers was dead before they reached 59 years of age. And so, all the amazing things they created in their lives, they created long before this point in my life. Thank you, because you showed me the way. And that's the truth, Shiv, right? I mean, I showed you the way. I said, here you go, right? If you're ready and open and willing, here's what you need to do to create amazing results for yourself. But I believe that by maximizing our potential, I think we're so much more powerful and creative and intelligent than most people realize. I mean, first of all, most people never foster any of this growth, not really challenging themselves in very many ways. Most people are walking around toxic and dehydrated. Now, think about the impact of this. I mean, and this may be difficult for you to believe at this point. Until it changes, then you can see the difference. But I don't remember the exact statistic, but I believe it said something like a 1% change in brain hydration creates like a 20% drop in cognitive ability. Okay, it was something along those lines. The numbers may not be exactly right. They're probably not exactly right, but you get the idea. The idea is that even becoming a little bit dehydrated, your brain being a little bit dehydrated means it's not going to function nearly as well as it would have. This chair is very comfortable, but I continue to slide down the chair over time, so I keep adjusting myself. So most people, I mean, we've now measured more than 5,000 people's hydration levels over the last 14 years. Most people are pretty seriously dehydrated. My guess is that means not only do their bodies not work as well as possible, but it means their brains aren't going to work as well as possible. It means they're not going to feel as well as possible emotionally either. This is why I've come to believe that hydration is probably the most important thing, and it's not accomplished by drinking more water. Yes, drinking water is important, and it should be clean water. I believe, this is the best we can do. This is spring water from this site. Okay, we collect it at the bottom of the site. It comes up out of the ground, and we collect. I believe that's the best we can do. But it's not going to happen by simply drinking more water. It happens when we get the old garbage out of the body, so the body isn't constantly trying to detoxify and rehydrate old hard material. When we do that, then we eat properly. We eat a high water, because the best water is in our food. But you're not going to get hydrated simply eating high water content food. How do I know that? Because I've measured the hydration levels of a lot of people who've tried that. And usually they're the most dehydrated person here. We'll have 35 people here, 40 people here at a time. They'll be the most dehydrated person here is the person who's trying to live on just fruit and salad without drinking any water. It doesn't work. It doesn't work very well. Okay? All right. So that was kind of a long piece there, but I hope that's useful for you. I haven't looked at recent comments. I'm still way up here, probably not even halfway down now. So I'll keep going. Reminder today, first of all, a couple things. I'm not sure if I'm seeing in real time what's happening because the number of people hasn't changed. It's usually changing. And the number of thumbs up hasn't changed. If what I've just shared with you has been useful to you, if you think there's value there, and this is important information, Facebook page or your YouTube or whatever it might be, because maybe other people would would benefit from this as well, would get some value from this as well. The other thing I'll remind you, I probably won't have time now. I have another call in 10 minutes, so I won't have time to read all the comments. If you have a question or a comment that you want me to see, you can do that with a super chat. You don't have to. I mean, this is a donation basically, and it's saying, hey, not only do I value what you're doing, but I'm actually willing to put some money up to say so. So in the meantime, I'll keep working my way through. I won't get to everyone. If you want to move to the top of the list, you do that by making a super chat, a donation. Okay, Eric says, rain is so great to see and hear, just don't like getting soaked in it. Yeah, I understand, Eric. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of being soaked in the rain here in the rainforest. And, well, you're in a rainforest, here in the tropics, in a tropical forest. But here, when you get soaked in the rain and it's 80 degrees, it's not too bad. The exception I found, riding a motorcycle on the highway, doing 60 miles an hour or more on a highway when you're soaking wet. It doesn't matter how warm it is, you feel cold. That's pretty uncomfortable. Aside from that, I don't mind getting wet here. It's not that big a deal. It can actually cool you off just a little bit sometimes on a hot day, but it's not really a problem when it's always so beautiful and warm here. It's not really problematic to get wet. All right. Is that Inse Marketers? Do you recommend anyone water fast for 21 days in a big city like New York City during an epidemic? What's the biggest risk of water fasting alone one should be aware of? I'd recommend fasting no matter where you are. Fasting is better than not fasting. Fasting allows your body to cleanse and heal. If you're in a big city, toxic city, and it's an epidemic, you're still going to get the benefits of healing that occur from fasting that you won't get otherwise. Dangers of fasting alone are not knowing what's going on and not knowing what to do, how much water you should be drinking. You will need to drink enough water. You don't want to drink too much water. It's knowing what's happening when things happen, when there are symptoms. What does it mean? What's going on? Are you okay or not okay? I get 4 or 5 messages every week from people who have had problems, created problems by fasting on their own because they didn't know what they were doing. I did a consultation. I think I may have mentioned this with you. Oh, I did a live on, was that Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday, I did a live broadcast, I think. I forget what day it was now. And I mentioned that I'd done a consultation recently with a woman whose husband died fasting alone. And she scheduled an appointment with me simply to try to understand what happened. I mean, she was worried because she's a raw vegan and she was interested in fasting, but, was starting to think that maybe fasting was something dangerous she shouldn't be doing. And so she wanted to try to understand what happened to him. That's unusual. Most people aren't going to die, but most people don't even come close to getting the same results fasting on their own. Okay. And so, pretty much all I can tell you about that. I'm going to move on down. Marike, good to see you. Hello there. I'll be seeing you very soon, Monday morning. Fruitarian Frugivore says, substitute leafy greens with the peel rind of fruit skins. No, thank you. I won't do that. The peels and rinds. Now, apples and pears of course, you eat the skins of those. Don't eat your banana peels. Don't eat your watermelon rinds. These are not food and should not be eaten. Okay, the things we can't digest these things very well. They contain, in some cases, toxic compounds. This is not a good idea. So I don't agree with you here. I don't know where you're coming from or why you'd recommend that, but it's not something we need to do or I believe would benefit from doing. It's something the food I eat tastes good to me, including the leafy greens I eat. Tastes good to me. No desire, no interest in eating fruit peels and fruit skins, and some of them aren't like citrus skins, are actually quite toxic to you. Okay, they contain a toxic oil, so bad idea. Don't do that. Ken says, "Hey, happy early birthday, Loren. I believe you when you say long-term water fasting is the ultimate, but how much can be achieved by physiological with how much can be achieved physiologically, I guess, with eating our species-specific diet and adherence to I'm not sure what the rest is. I don't see anymore for some reason. Anyway, so it looks like I'm not sure if I'm not getting all of the chat now because it stops here. I can't see. Unable to connect to chat. So I apologize here. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm guessing it's not a great connection. We've had some connectivity issues here lately. If you have made a super chat, it's not showing up here for me. And usually that would show up at the top. So, but if you've made one and it's not showing up, let me ask you to do this. Send me an email with your question, Loren at tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. I won't be able to respond to it here now because I only have a few minutes left and I'd have to go and wait for emails to come in, etc. Take your time, get it to me today. I will do my best to respond to your message by today or tomorrow at the latest. Okay? So I apologize, but this is something we don't have any control over. I don't understand why we're having these issues. We have let our internet people know in the last couple of days that we've had some challenges with this lately. And I still don't know. I noticed on the last live I did, the recording was much shorter than the live broadcast, which means it didn't drop out for little tiny seconds. Like there was a lot missing. And some people believe that it's being edited, which I guess would be happening almost in real time, just cutting out segments because it seems to happen, seems to drop out, cut out. It seems that could just, it could just be, it just appears that way. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure what's going on. I can only see down here for a little bit longer, and then for some reason it's no longer connected to chat. So I'll look at what I have. Those of you that have if you've made a donation today, I can't see it except for the first one. I can't see the rest of them. So let me just thank you now. Thank you very, very much for your support. I appreciate that. Again, I'm wondering about the counter too. I can see the timer. I can see the clock moving forward. We're now 51 minutes and 33 seconds, but we have the same number of people and the same number of thumbs up. And that I don't believe is accurate. So I'm guessing there are things happening that for some reason I'm not seeing today because of my connection. Just check that we're well connected here. We seem to be. The cable's connected. So if you made a donation, thank you very much. And if you have a question for me with that donation, please feel free to, I see. So thank you very much, Sarah. Sarah, who's volunteering here with me and is awesome, has just brought me her laptop. Here you go. And I can see Power Drummer. So I don't know why it's not showing up on my computer. That's weird, isn't it? Power Drummer's made a $20 donation and says, "Happy birthday, Loren. At what time of day should we measure our temperature, blood pressure, and weight?" Resting numbers. If you are eating, obviously eating is going to affect your weight. So it's going to make sense to take your weight probably at the same time every day. And first thing in the morning makes sense to me. I would do all those things first thing in the morning. Hydration, if you're sipping enough water through the day, your hydration is going to get better over the course of the day, right? Theoretically, if you're drinking water. And so we should see better numbers. Is that it for now? Oh, there's another one here I didn't see. Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll just scroll through. Okay, so Medulla Maculae has also made a 100 Swedish kroner donation and said, I eat only raw mono meals, only fruit and leafy greens. When after I eat mono, mangoes, for example, should I start to drink, when after I eat mono, should I start to drink, sip water again? I'm less hydrated in general as my nose is broken. I'm less hydrated in general as my nose is broken. I'm not sure what your broken nose has to do with hydration, but generally speaking, after completing a mono meal, any meal, you probably want to wait 45 minutes. Now, with a high water, if you're watching this and you're eating hamburgers and French fries, you probably should wait 2 hours or more before drinking again, because you're likely to it's likely to take that long for that stuff to be digested. Okay, so let me scroll down here and see if there's anything else that I've missed. Super chat wise, I think that's it. Now, of course, Sarah's no longer connected. Go up. Oh, there are. Tassie made a $5 donation and said, happy birthday. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that very much. I'm always glad to see you. I hope we get to meet in person someday. Tom Wolf has made a €20 donation and said, happy birthday, Loren. You rock. Could you please specify which greens you recommend and the best way of eating them? Also, any thoughts on almonds, pine nuts? Thanks so much, Tom. I appreciate the donation and the wishes. I appreciate that very much. The best greens typically are lettuces. There are about 30 different varieties of lettuce. All lettuces are pretty good. Most other leafy greens are going to be less optimal than lettuce. There may be some exceptions, but for instance, the cruciferous vegetables, kale, collard greens, cabbage, these things are all very high in complex carbohydrates, complex starches like cellulose. Cellulose is an example of one of them, that are very difficult for our bodies to digest. And so I don't recommend using those. I would avoid those in most cases. There are very, very occasional exceptions where I might eat one of those, but most of the time I wouldn't. Almonds, pine nuts, pistachios. Pistachios I wouldn't eat for various reasons. I think they're not optimal. Almonds are okay. Pine nuts I think are probably okay. Exceptionally high in fat. You want to limit their content, your intake of those. I mean, I'd limit the intake of all nuts and seeds, but I think almonds are one of the more balanced. Walnuts are probably okay. What else? Sunflower seeds are among the better ones. Cashews, the question was, cashews can't be raw, right? Well, cashews, the deal with cashews is that they have a paper skin inside the shell. We grow cashews here. And inside the shell is the nut with this little papery skin, just like an almond has the brown skin on it. The problem is that the cashew skin has urushiol, which is the same chemical that makes poison ivy blister your skin. So you wouldn't want to eat this, and in order to get it off, you can't handle it without getting it on your fingers. So typically cashews are handled with gloves and then plunged in boiling water to remove the papery skin. And so they are blanched, they are cooked briefly in boiling water. Even when they're called raw, they're not really raw. And that's the issue. Now, theoretically, could they be raw? Well, it's possible. There's a well-known raw vegan who used to sell what he claimed were raw cashews. We bought them various times and tried sprouting them, tried growing them, and they rotted. They never sprouted, which suggests that they weren't actually raw. They were actually cooked. So theoretically, it might be possible to get that skin off some other way. I don't know how to do it. It's possible, but I don't know how that would happen. I don't know anyone doing it. I mean, I would think it would be very laborious to try to do it manually, but it's possible. Generally speaking, when you see raw cashews, what that really means is they haven't been roasted. But they've been plunged in boiling water. So probably best to avoid those. ITAC Yumcell has made a €10 donation. Thank you, ITAC. I appreciate that very much. And said, hi, Loren, in one of your videos, I remember a topic about the body that will get its fluids from the least vital organs when dehydrated, the lower back joints. Can you tell more about this? Well, I don't have a lot of time to talk about this right now because I'm kind of out of time. But basically what I can tell you is that a dehydrated body is going to take water from non-vital, not organs, but non-vital systems or places, to give it to those organs and systems that are vital, that are critical to our survival. So, for instance, your heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, thyroid, brain, liver, bloodstream have to have the water they need for the body to function properly for you to survive, right? Your skin, your eyes, your joints, the discs in your back, these are not critical. You can have terrible arthritis and still survive. You can be blind from birth and survive. You can have no discs at all and be in a lot of pain and shrink and not work. Your body. What I say is that much of what we call aging is actually long-term chronic dehydration. Okay, because what happens is people age. They get wrinkled skin. Okay, wrinkles happen, right? I mean, a lot of people my age have a lot of wrinkles. That's because they're dehydrated. Now, I mean, there are people who don't because they use lotions and creams and makeup and Botox and other things. But this is natural, and there's not much of that happening because of hydration. People's vision declines. The number one cause of age-related vision loss is they get older because the joints have two things: cartilage and synovial fluid, both of which is almost entirely water. Okay, and so as these things are decreasing in water content or going away completely, as often happens, there's going to be problems with the joints. We can reverse each of these conditions. We can reverse all of them by getting the body clean and then hydrated and eating properly. We can actually reverse each of these things. So I hope that helps. I've got just another moment. Alexander has made a donation of 300 MKD, and I don't know what that is. From your name, Alexander, it looks like you might be from Macedonia, and maybe that's a Macedonian something, but I don't have any idea what an MKD is. But thank you very much, whatever it is. I appreciate that very much. And not asking a question, just making a donation. Thank you. Ken Ford has made a $20 donation, asking how much can be achieved if one didn't water fast and eat our species-specific diet with adherence to a 4 to 6 hour eating window as yourself. That was basically what you were saying before. And the other question, because I missed your super chat. How much can be achieved? Well, quite a lot can be achieved, but we've never seen anyone, even with 22 years, I think is the longest I've seen, 22 years eating a close to perfect diet, raw vegan, optimal fruit and salad, came and fasted and saw amazing shifts, amazing cleansing, healing, much better hydration afterward. And so while, yes, the body can do quite a bit while eating optimally, on the best schedule and the best food, it's nothing compared to what happens fasting. Fasting is thousands of times more powerful than anything else we can do without fasting. Okay, I believe I've got all of them now. So I'm so sorry if I missed you earlier. Hopefully we've caught up here. If there's another one, I guess it would have happened after Sarah came in here. I'm not going to be able to see that because I'm still getting nothing here in my chat window. Everything else is frozen, and I have to go because I'm now past time. So I thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate all the well wishes. Again, thank you for the thumbs up, which I can't see. I'm hoping that that's what's happening. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. Please feel free to leave comments. Again, please feel free to share. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I will. I'm in paradise. How can it be otherwise? Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I don't know what's going on.